Hello, good morning. Good morning, Anna.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning,
Good
Dr.
morning.
NursePaul.
Morning, Anna. Well, welcome to episode number 39 of DNP Unlocked. We have come a long way. Episode 39. I hope you're not yet tired of us. But
Wait,
Anna,
Dr.
today.
NursePaul, let me share.
Yes,
Let
ma'am.
me let me click sharing our webinar for today because
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people were sending messages to me. Anyway, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
Time flies. Well,
And
we are on a third Sunday of the month.
we are, yes. And one more month, one more week, and now we're entering August. Yeah, I mean, time flies, huh? I can't believe we're almost past halfway the year,
Halfway.
but we're also turning 1 year soon, Anna, for DNP Unlocked, and we have.
Can you imagine that?
Can you imagine? Yes, and we have created lots of shows for our followers and our audience, but also for anyone who's watching, please make sure to download our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This is available in Apple and Spotify, but you can also find us in Amazon Music, YouTube, podcast. It's called DNP Unlocked, obviously. So
Mm-hmm.
there you go. So all our episodes from the past are now available for podcast through Apple and Spotify, and we have a lot of audience. And of course, DMP Unlocked is a good resource for you if you plan to move to the U.S. in the future, if you're
Mm-hmm.
here to the U.S., and even for those that are already here in the U.S. We bring in discussions that we feel are important for the community. But if you also have suggestions of things you want us to talk about, feel free to email me at info@drnursepaul.com. So email me info@drnursepaul.com. We will flash that shortly on the screen. So you can give us suggestions of what you want us to talk about. We're still lining up our August shows, right, Anna?
Yes, there's so much to talk about, but we cannot make a decision which topics we're going to.
Right, right. So please message us at info@drnursepaul.com so I can share this to my co-hosts and see what we can talk about for you guys. But thank you for all of those of you who have downloaded the podcast and
Mm-hmm.
are listening to us regularly. And I think Kay is not going to be able to join us today, Anna, because she's feeling
Mm-hmm.
sick. How are you doing, by the way?
Well, I worked last night,
Uh-oh. So you just
but
got home.
yes, and I was trying to log in like 20 minutes ahead of time. I have to
Oh wow.
reset the Wi-Fi. But anyway,
Uh-huh.
everything's okay. I'm happy that I'm able to go back, and I miss hanging out with you on my Sunday morning. Okay,
Right.
feel better. Get well soon. We need you. You're the numbers.
Yeah, right, right. That's good. That's good. But yeah, Kay, feel better. We'll see you next week. And
Mm-hmm.
all right. Well, welcome everybody to episode number 39. And today we're gonna talk about computing paycheck. We've talked about this in the past,
Ooh.
brushing
Mm-hmm.
through it, but today we're gonna try to dissect as much as we can of how to compute paycheck. But Anna, first and foremost, why is it important for us to compute paychecks?
Well, we it's very important for us to understand all the numbers that we see in the pay stub. Because first of all, we work hard for it. We want to know why am I only getting paid this X amount? What are the things
Correct.
that they are taking away from my paycheck? And are they entering or paying the correct amount of time? And you don't want to be robbed of your hard work. So you must learn, and it's very important to really pay attention, even if you hate math like me. I hate math, but when it comes to my paycheck, we have a good relationship.
Correct. Correct. Yep. And for me, it's very important to to compute paycheck properly, because
Mm-hmm.
that's your money, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everything here is automated in the States, so there can be clerical errors. I mean, over
Yep.
the 7 years that I've worked here, I still keep checking my paycheck just to make sure that I'm actually receiving the right money, right? Especially if I know if I put in an overtime or I have
Oh yeah.
differentials because I precepted nurses, I'm a charge nurse. So I want to make
Or
sure that I receive the
holiday.
right money, or holiday pay, correct? Or I'm a
Mm-hmm.
PTO. So I want to make sure that I receive that uh, correct money, because we worked hard for it, and because it's automated, it can fail. And I've seen quite some of my paychecks that were not right, but I had to email
Oh
HR.
no.
Nobody will
Mm-hmm.
take a look at it unless you say
Of
something
course.
about it. They're supposed to like do that, but it is also your personal responsibility to make sure that you're receiving your right paycheck, right?
Correct. You
And
must
we don't
advocate for yourself.
correct, correct. And I know we don't like math, so uh but good thing there's um what's this paycheck calculators that are
Yep.
available online, so I'm gonna share what I use as a resource when I travel nurse, and even today when I'm comparing rates, because every
Mm-hmm.
week or two I still check the job market, Anna. All right, it's always
Of
I
course.
mean, I don't have plans to leave my current employer, but I also want to check the job market, because there might be new opportunities, or not only that, the market rates may be increasing and my employer is not
Mm-hmm.
matching it. So very important for me to know that, and then I run my numbers, because you know how it is here in the States, right? It's so
Correct.
big that there's no same salary computation for any given
Mm-hmm.
city, because cost of living and taxes are different, right? Per
Mm-hmm.
state, per city. So I want to make sure that the numbers I'm looking at is something I'm content with.
Correct. And like what you said, this is United States of America, wherein there are 83 states. However, they are not that united. Every state have their own rules, have their own policies. So you as a nurse, before you advocate for your client or your patient, you must first advocate for yourself by,
Correct.
they always say knowledge is power. It's not just powerful, it's very beneficial on your end. Like Dr. Nurse Paul said, you work hard for it. It's your money. Every little cent of it, you must earn it, and you earn it, you work hard for it, emotionally and physically and everything. So please pay attention to the paycheck. If you need a highlighter, if you need a color pen, do it. Go one by one with it. So I
Correct.
remember when I started, the reason why I found out when I was working as an agency nurse, my contract said 5,100 hours, equivalent to 3 years. For all, every 2 weeks, I print out my paycheck, I highlight them, and I minus
Mm-hmm.
the hours. And after a year and a half, I work more than 5,000 because I do a
Yeah.
lot of overtime. I call my
Right.
agency, hey, remember my contract? I have my
Uh-huh.
contract on the other side of my email, and the other side, the total amount of hours that I work. So technically, I'm done with my contract with you. And they said, okay, Anna, I think they felt I outsmart them. So I finished my contract as early as 1.5 years because I worked hard because I was paying attention for my paycheck, for my pay stub.
Right,
So it's
right.
a must.
That's good. That's good. And very important to do that, because it's always good to check your paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
And
So,
yeah, let's talk
mhm,
about our first thing that we need to talk about today is very quickly, how do we find jobs? How do we compare rates? Let's start
mhm,
with that, because it all starts with even if you're working right now, you still always
true.
want to compare, right? It's not like
Yes.
California, they post their rates, but this is not California. There are
Mhm,
49 other states and 5 other territories that don't do that. So how do we
mhm.
find out about rates and compare jobs?
So there are so many ways to look for a job. And you're right, Purple. I mean, I'm not gonna lie about that. Me too. Every other month, I still look at okay, what's the market for over in New York? And New York is there's a lot of boroughs in New York. You have Queens, you have Brooklyn, you have Bronx. You want to know your talent fee, right? Your rate if the hospital picking up the rate. So there are ways to find out for a job. Number one will be the hospital website. Yes, the hospital have a website. There's a career
Mm-hmm.
portion of that. Number two will be agency, if you want to
Mm-hmm.
sign up for an agency. Number three will be, of course, networking. Nothing can beat that. When I used to be a
Correct.
traveler, I met a lot of friends and they told me, hey, Anna, there's a hiring in this hospital. And then you learn more about it. How about the culture, the environment? How about
Mm-hmm.
the management? And there are other platforms like Indeed, and if you're a member of an association, for example, AORN, Association for OR Nurses, they're also
Mm-hmm.
offering a portion of careers. They will post a lot of hiring for OR nurses only. So I think those four resources can help you a lot to land a job. And in Indeed, it's they have or in Glassdoor. Correct me if I'm wrong, Dr. Nurse. They will
Mm-hmm.
post the rate of a nurse per hour in this city or in this location, and you can compare them. It's very helpful to look into those four. Don't just rely on your friend. Don't just rely on the hospital website. I mean, there's a lot of information out there, but those four are very helpful with me in terms of looking for a job. How about you, Dr. Nurse? What do you usually utilize?
Yeah, I do like when comparing jobs. This is one of the websites that I actually look at. I'm gonna share my screen. Basically, I use Indeed, but I actually have
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn and Glassdoor as well. So what I
Yes.
do,
Mm-hmm.
Anna, let me simulate. For example, I wanna look for a job in emergency nurses for emergency nurses anywhere in the United States, and I
Mm-hmm.
can configure the pay that I want. So say for example, I only want
True.
to see 45 hour plus an hour yearly. 45 plus an hour usual computation is you multiply that to 2000 hours
Mm-hmm.
a year. That is if you do 40 hours a week, right? So it might be a little lower here if you're doing a little 36 hours a week. But usually the usual computation is they multiply it to 2000 to make your 40 hours a week. Because if you think about it, 40 hours times 52 is actually 80 hours a year. So roughly it's 90,000. 45 times 2,000 is 90,000. So now I see that there's offer in
Mm-hmm.
Washington State and Colorado Springs, 54 an hour is the maximum. New York Presbyterian is also offering 140
Mhm.
maximum. Some of them don't have rates, but I also see Milton, Wisconsin, offering 60 an hour. So I could be interested with 50 to 60 an hour in Wisconsin. And then that's how I start.
Oh.
So that's how I look
Mhm.
for jobs, right? Or I can also narrow it down to cities. So say, for example, I am currently in Houston, Texas. So let's see the job market in Houston, Texas, which is not good right now because done are the COVID pandemic rates, is what I say. But you see the rates 46 to 54, and that's PRN, Anna, that's part time, right? So it should be a
Mhm.
little higher. 49 an hour for RN here in one emergency room, 2,600 a week for travel RN, but that's not Houston. So that's how I see the rate. You can basically start with Indeed. The good thing with Indeed, it's available online. So if you are outside the
Mhm.
US, you're finding jobs in the US, this is the best place for you to work. And why do I like Indeed is because there's so many filters at the top. I can find within
Correct.
50 miles. I can change the hourly rate. I can change the job type. There's even job types here for full time, part time, or temporary,
Mhm.
specialty, license. And I also have options to do night shift, day shift, and location can be anywhere around the city that you chose, what work setting, if it's hospital. And so that's it. Through this, I can easily see what's the current job market, right? Even if I have work right now, I don't need to leave work. I just say, you know what?
True.
They started paying 50 an hour, but I'm getting paid 45 an hour. Let me tell my manager that, hey,
Mm-hmm.
they're paying 50 an hour in another hospital. Some nurses might apply there. So maybe you know, we should renegotiate my rates so we can see all the rates in there right in Houston, Texas. But that's the first step. It's only about finding jobs and finding. You don't want to move to a new city, even if you're already here in the States or
Yeah.
transferred to another
Mm-hmm.
job. You don't want to move to a new city blind, like you don't even know the
Yeah.
market share there, especially if you're from California and you're used to $100 an hour. That's California. That's not outside California. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
from here, I now see that ER nurses here in Houston currently makes about, if I can negotiate with my experience, probably 50, 55 an hour, which is actually not too shabby in Houston, but or not too bad. But I would honestly look for higher than that, Anna. So
It
something
means
like that. So that's the first step.
yeah. Long story short, spend some time. Do not be in a hurry. Do not be desperate. Oh, I just want to work. You have to know your worth. I mean, you have a license that you have to protect, so you make sure that what you're getting for is, you know, you have to value yourself. I always remember what you're saying about finance, only you know your worth. So
Right,
please
right.
utilize this. You need to write it. I love to write. I'm a planner person. I love highlighting. I love pens. I write them, the hospital, the amount of money, the paycheck or per
Right, right.
hour that they're giving it to me before I sign up for it. There are so many informations out there. And the partner code Engage is very useful. They provide
That is.
information how to do your resume, how to attend interview, how to answer difficult
Mhm.
questions.
That is
A
correct.
very good
Yes.
resource. Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those are free, Anna.
Oh yeah, they're free.
Mhm.
And I find them they reply faster than the hospital website. Because
Yeah,
last
yeah.
when I decided, oh, I'm not gonna travel anymore, in January, I started to apply. I utilized the hospital website. No one got back to me. But when I
Right.
applied via Indeed, they replied the following day. So
Correct.
between those two, Indeed is a better one. Referral for your friends, networking. It's helpful to someone will follow up in the HR, but of course you don't want to bother them. They're also working. And there are
Right.
also job search boards. So yes, please know your worth. Research
Right.
and some time.
And I like Indeed too because you can message the recruiter.
Yeah.
There's a
Mm-hmm.
messaging app in there that you can message the recruiter, which is
Mm-hmm.
good because you can follow up. Hey, it's been a week. I applied. That's
Mm-hmm.
how I found my employer, which is pretty good. But I also do LinkedIn and
Mm-hmm.
Glassdoor because if I'm gonna check the market, might as well have two or three sources, and that's the beauty with internet right now because everything's available online. All
Gone are the
right,
days of newspaper.
classified
Remember those?
ads. Yeah, right, right. And
Okay, well, let's say hi to our some viewers, Paul. We have Joshua. Have a good evening. We have someone from Qatar.
Jorley,
Zorli.
he always joins us in
Sharon.
our
Oh,
show.
yeah.
Yep.
Please keep sharing this podcast to your friends. It will be very helpful even if you're in the United States already working. So you're gonna realize, oh shoot, I'm so lazy looking at my pay stub. Now I have to look into it.
Right, right. All right.
Oh.
Well, Jorley will answer your questions later. I'm gonna answer it later towards the end portion.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But Anna, now we're gonna talk about incomes and deductions. Um,
Can we talk
ba-
about all
yeah,
income?
yeah, yeah. But usual income, sources of income, like the usual income for a nurse that's working in the hospital only. No side gigs, no nothing like that. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, we're talking about paycheck, right? So income,
Mm-hmm.
deductions, and then total net pay, gross pay versus net pay.
Okay, this is a very important topic, especially those who are newly arrived nurses. wherever country you're from, because you remember the partner when you were in the Philippines, we're not really into BIR, our version of IRS, right?
Right, right.
We don't really worry about taxes.
Correct.
Not a, we don't even know. All we know is we have a deduction in an EB or in SSS. But here, there's more to that, and it's very vital that nurses must know that, so you're not going to be surprised. What? I thought I'm going to earn this X amount of money. Why am I only taking home of this?
Right,
That's
right.
where in gross versus net comes into play. Right?
Right.
That are nurse.
And gross pay is basically your hourly rate plus your
Mm-hmm.
differentials and everything here, or differentials, your preceptor pay, your charge nurse pay, your holiday pay, overtime pay, times the hours that you worked. And net pay is basically take everything out. The gross pay is one thing, like you say, okay, I earn 3,000 a week as a travel nurse,
Uh-huh.
but that's not everything because you still have deductions, which we will talk about later, right? So you will
Yeah.
have your deductions. You take the deductions out, there's pre-tax and post-tax, and that's your net pay. When you budget, you start with your net pay, right? Because
Yeah.
if you start with your gross pay, then you're going to be negative.
Yeah, exactly. So always remember that the gross pay, it's like expectation versus reality.
Right, right, right.
Your expectation is your gross pay in your mind, but the reality you're taking home your net pay. That is the money that you have to budget, your gross pay. So a lot of nurses are sending me messages. Mom Anna, the agency promised me that I'm gonna earn this amount of money in a year. However, I've been here for a year and it's not that. And then we go over with her paycheck. Do you know about the difference between gross pay and net pay? Do you know? Are you aware of deduction? So they were like,
Right.
no, Mama, so what is gross and what is net pay? Like what earners all you will budget for your net pay. That's the eight home money. Eight home money. That's
Yes.
what you bring home. That whole amount of net pay.
Yep. And that is why you need to know how to compute your paycheck. That way you know how to know your net pay. Because I know we hate numbers, but if you don't know how to compute your paycheck and you don't know how to budget, it's really really hard to save up
Oh
for
yeah.
the future, Anna.
it, it's not easy.
Right,
Like
right.
what I said, expectation versus reality. I mean, and please stop converting. Stop converting dollar to peso. Oh my God, I'm gonna be rich in a few months. No, not yet, or not really, because you earn dollar, you also spend dollar, and do not focus on your gross pay. Focus on your net pay. Okay, I have a message here, private message from gross pay versus net pay. Like, Mamana, I never heard about gross pay in my life until I arrived in US. Well, welcome in the US.
Yeah, well, gross pay is like everything that you receive, but I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's not that's not everything. I mean, all of your per hour rates, whatever it is, that differential, regular hours, OT hours, like I said, but you don't receive that, right? So, for example, your
Mm-hmm.
gross pay for a week in travel nursing is 2,500. That's not all. It might
Yeah.
come back to 1,800 or 2,000 because you still have
Mm-hmm.
deductions. So net pay is deductions out. So that's why
Mm-hmm.
you focus on your net pay. In your paycheck, it's at the bottom. It says deposited amount, right, or total, right?
Oh
Because
yeah.
yep, kind of like this, Anna. I'm gonna share this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have the gross pay for this person, 300. That's a
Is
little
that
low,
you?
right? This is from Investopedia. But you also have federal taxes, right? You have
Mm-hmm.
FICA Social Security tax, FICA Medicare tax, your state tax, and then your net income. So out of 300, this person got 217. But that's why do we have those deduction? It's pay to play. It's our social responsibility, legal responsibility to
Correct.
pay those
Mm-hmm.
taxes for the government. Okay.
And also, you also have the social security, it's part of your retirement also. Just like in the Philippines, if you're from the Philippines, like the SSS version of.
Yep.
So
All
this is
right.
one growth. Yeah. And also
Yep.
for all, I want to emphasize the number for year to date income. Yes,
Oh,
you're
yep.
gonna see in your paycheck the year to date, like in a year, how much you're getting paid. And may I add, every year, the partners all, every
Mm-hmm.
December 31 or before the filing of taxes, I print out my SSS. I created an account online in my social security and I print them out and I also compare the amount of money that the SSS deducted from my paycheck. I just want to audit, like, is it right? Is it correct that this is the X
Mm-hmm.
amount that I contribute on that year? You have to be very vigilant when it comes to money because, like what we said earlier, you work hard for it, so you must be accountable checking all those amounts of money coming out of your paycheck. And let me emphasize again, gross pay is different from net pay. Gross A is what you see those numbers in your paycheck, but the net pay is the one you're taking at home for your family.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the budget starts in your net pay. And do not file a complaint for your agency. Ma'am Anna, they promised me this X amount of money. Yes, but please educate yourself, continue to work on DNP Unlocked. Take notes remember all of this. I know there are a lot of numbers to remember. We hate numbers. But in US of A, this is a land of taxes, deduction, and insurance.
Correct. And then of course, Anna, aside from the usual taxes, federal, which is so hard to compute, social security and Medicare taxes,
Hey,
you also have other deductions. And we've
mm-hmm,
mentioned that in one of our previous shows before, like your medical insurance, your other insurances, your
mm-hmm.
disability insurance, and these are
Long
optional.
term, yep. Mm-hmm,
Dental, vision, short-term, long-term disability, critical illnesses, riders, even pet insurance if you opted that in your company, right? And
yes.
other deductions like your 401k or
Oh, yeah.
403b, which is your
Mm-hmm,
retirement contributions. So that kind of that makes the net pay different from people to people, right? Even if, for
mm-hmm,
example, we both make the same 100 an hour, Anna, it's still different what each people would make. Because if you're single, you get more taxes out. If you're married, you
correct.
get a little taxes
Little
compared to single. So which means single person would probably take home less, married person would probably take home more, something like that.
mm-hmm.
So it always boils down to individual situation. Later, Anna, I'm gonna show live how to compute paychecks. So
Oh,
I
I
have an
like that.
online calculator that I actually use.
And also remember, don't forget the what you claim for or what you file for in your W. I know there are so many things to consider with the paycheck, with especially with the deduction, not just your taxes, your federal and state tax in New York. We have so many tax here. We have federal, we have state
Mhm.
tax, and we
Yep.
have city tax too. So please consider those amounts of money. Do not be overwhelmed and do not be narrow-minded, like, oh, I'm gonna earn this X amount, and later on you will ask yourself, oh my God, is my American dream ruined because of my gross pay? No, please educate yourself. Okay, and are you ready for your
Online
calculation?
calculator. Yeah. Okay. So let's simulate this. Okay. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, I'm looking for a job, Anna, and I found this job because I love Colorado. For example, I found this
Mm.
Colorado Springs job for ED nurse for 54 an hour. That's range, Anna. So which means 35 if you're new
Mm-hmm.
grad, 54 if you're experienced. So let's do 54 an hour. All right. And I'm gonna go to my calculator,
Mm-hmm.
paycheckcity.com. Ignore the ads. They're not paying us to advertise for us. Paycheckcity.com. There's free calculators, and then I'll choose hourly calculator. Now, so we're gonna
Mm-hmm.
compute because I want to simulate how much am I gonna make, right? Because we always
Yeah.
get this
Every
question.
2 weeks, right? In every
Yeah,
2 weeks.
yeah, Dr. Paul, is it enough? Is it enough? Is this a good rate? 30 an hour, 55 an hour in this city? Well, Texas alone has 900 cities, so I really can't say that's a good number unless you run the numbers yourself. But if I do that to my 80,000 followers, and I'm probably not going to finish until next year,
Oh
right?
yeah.
So I'll teach you the secret so you can do it yourself too. So
Eighty
from
thousand followers.
yes, so select state first. I'll do Colorado because we're checking Colorado Springs, right? So we'll check
Mm-hmm.
Colorado. So now I'm in state Colorado. I'm in hourly paycheck calculator. Nurses are usually paid hourly. We talked about this last week, and the rate is 54 an hour. All right,
Mm-hmm.
right, and hours worked per week is uh this I think is 36, right?
Mm-hmm.
For this pay rate. So if the paycheck is every 2 weeks, 36 hours times two is 72 hours, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So my gross pay is 38, um, 88, right? We're gonna do
Yeah.
pay per period. We're gonna do bi-weekly because this is important because the federal taxes they have computation if you're doing bi-weekly, monthly,
Or weekly.
uh, every 15 days
Mm-hmm.
or weekly. So it's different. So now I'm gonna file. This is my W-4 or my tax information, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna use my W-4. For example, I am single. All right. This is my only job, so I'm not gonna click that. I don't have
Mm-hmm.
dependents. I don't have other income. If I have side gigs, I can write it there too, or other sorts of income within the thing. And the deductions, for example, I have deductions for um, a total of $300 for medical insurance, liability insurance, whatever I availed from my employer, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes people don't want to pay taxes at the end of the year. They add more federal withholding, which means we're already going to take money out of your paycheck for federal, but you also want to contribute more. So sometimes people
Yeah.
would add 50 or $100 an hour a paycheck
Every
just
week.
so
Mm-hmm.
just so they don't pay more taxes. Because some people, they're hustlers. They do lots of overtimes. So the the taxes pile up, so they don't want to pay at the end of the year, right? So they add federal withholding, and then you don't click the exempt because when you say exempt, you're not paying them, which
Mm-hmm.
means it's gonna inflate your paycheck quickly. So let's just do basic scenario where you're paying taxes, right? So I'm not exempt from state tax. Colorado obviously has state tax. I'll check that filing status single. This is now for the state and all that, right? So let's calculate, Anna, from 3888 every 2 weeks, because 72-hour work, right? There's no overtime. Then my paycheck ends 2,800, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Uncle Sam just took away $1,000 as his share or cut on the pie. So, right, from 3888, 2,800, 1,000 to Uncle Sam, right? Let's that's for single. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
if I am married, right? Same scenario. I used a real life data from Indeed, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
let's do 72 hours. And then I picked up an extra shift, Anna. I picked up one
Okay.
extra shift every week, right? So every week now I'm working 48 hours, right? Because 12 24 is 648. So what we'll do is I'll do my regular rate at 80 hours, right? For 2 weeks, and my
Mm-hmm.
other um, hours are gonna be overtime. So that's 16 hours because 48 times two is Am I doing it right? I used to be good with math because I always do overtime.
We miss you,
96,
Clay.
16 hours overtime. So 54 is my per hour rate based on the offer multiplied by 1.5 time and a half because that's the federal law, right? So therefore my overtime rate is 81 an hour and I do 16 hours every paycheck. Now I do 4 days a week, right? Because I
Mm-hmm.
don't have anything else to do, I want to work more. But this time I'm married, filing jointly. I have two dependents, so how much do I put in there? I don't know. Total amount for any claim dependents. I'm not going to put that right now. All right. And
Mm-hmm.
deductions, I'm gonna make 500 because I'm married, so probably insurance is much more expensive.
Yeah.
Um, and then I'm gonna file married under the state as well. All right. And then we can see that by doing extra shift an
Oh
hour,
no.
I bumped it up to 5,600. But also the tax rate went up a little. So now
Yeah.
I'm earning 4,300, right? So by doing two extra shifts, I added up what how much 1,500 on the
Yeah.
pot, right?
Mm-hmm.
That could be mortgage payment, that could be car payment, Anna,
Yeah.
right?
Or
So that could be
vacation
savings already,
time.
or vacation time, Taylor Swift tickets for this month, and then Taylor Swift tickets for the next month, like Miss Anna. So that could be something that you could be using for something urgently, and you don't want to affect your savings. So that's how I compute the paycheck. Um, so that's it. So that's basically one way to compute paycheck, and this is pretty good. And in all my experience, I've been using this since I started travel
Me
nursing
too.
2020.
Mm-hmm.
It's very 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 close. Probably a difference of $50 to $60 only, but it gives
True.
you an idea, right? So let's say
Yeah.
because California is popular
Oh
in my
no.
page too, right? Because California nurses, that's not true. We make more than that, all right? So let's say I want to go to San Francisco, right? I want to work in San Francisco. And how much are they offering? So let's see, 96 an hour, right? Kaiser Permanente. Or let's
Mm.
do Sutter Health,
Wow.
108 an hour.
96.
Wow, right? 98, 108. So I changed the state to California, right? Something is wrong with my internet. California. All right.
I
And
wanna put
then,
that number.
yeah. All right. And now we'll do 108, right? 108 per hour. And I only work 3 days a week because I don't want to work more, for example. That brings our rate to 7,776 every 2 weeks, right? Paper
Okay.
period. We're going to do bi weekly. I'm going to do single, no extra
Mm-hmm.
deductions, no extra deductions. I'm going to say I'm paying 500 for everything else, insurance, post-tax deduction. Um, I know there's something here. Oh, I had deductions right here, right? Let me say
Yeah.
I'm putting 401k, right? And
I'm
I
also
put,
computing.
yeah, 5% of my 401k, right? Um, and that's it. Uh, I think that should be exempt, right? Because it's pre-tax, right? It says here,
It is.
what is
It is.
that? What, right?
Excellent. Wrong.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah, exempt because it's pre-tax.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now we're gonna calculate this scenario, and how much did we make? Suspense. Did it a drum roll, please? All right, from 7,700. Wow, four
Oh.
thousand seven hundred. Uncle Sam said, "Give me $3,000 for working
Ah.
in California." So quite a lot. Good thing they get a lot of differentials there. But $3,000. So your take home is 4,700. Not too shabby. If you do that 2 weeks, you're still gonna make about $10,000 a
Correct.
week, right? Now another thing. So now that I know the rate, right? So I know that 108 an hour is, for example, my paycheck in what's this in California, right? Based on our
Yeah.
scenario earlier. So that's roughly probably 200,000 a year or probably more, but let's just do 200,000 a year, right? Now, before I moved to California, right? Um, say I want to work in San Francisco, right? And the offer for me is, and I currently live in Houston,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm gonna compare now how much is it compared to my current rate right now. If I make 200,000 in California based on the offer that I've seen, the equivalent in Houston is 112, right? Because the cost of living is 44% lower in Houston. So if I'm in Houston right now, it means that in order to match that same amount, all right, I need to make
Mm-hmm.
at least 112. So if I'm making more than this, so it'll be hard for me to move to California because
True.
yes, higher rate in numbers, but it's
Higher.
always right. How this is how I say it in numbers, yes, but how does it feel, right? Like what
Correct.
really is left in your pocket at the end of the day? Because I'm like here in the states, I mean in Houston, I'm paying mortgage, right? And obviously,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm paying mortgage, if I move to California or New York, it might be more. I'm not sure if I can afford it. So it's all about can I afford it or not. So for example, guys, another example earlier we talked about Colorado Springs, right?
Mm-hmm.
Say for example, I'm currently in Houston. Let's move Colorado Springs, Colorado, and I'm currently in Houston. So say for example, in Houston, we've seen $50 an hour offer versus Colorado Springs is 54, right? So in order for me to move, if this is my current rate in Houston, Colorado must offer me at least 111 or more. If they
Mm-hmm.
offer me with
Yeah.
100,000 an hour, then automatically I'm losing 12% already because
True.
Colorado has a much more expensive cost of living, right? So transportation costs 10 times higher or 10% higher, food costs 5% higher, entertainment 3% higher, 7% higher. So whenever someone asks me online, is this a good rate? The good
Mm-hmm.
rate for me, I had to run the scenario for 5 to 10 minutes. It's
Yeah.
multiple factors. The gross pay
Mm-hmm.
alone does not tell me if it's a good rate. And the gross rate also needs to show me how much will be the net and is it comparable to what I'm earning right now from one state to another?
True.
And this is just broad overview. Of course, there will be what I call outliers where their
Mm-hmm.
numbers might be more or high.
A higher.
Right? I mean, I posted my paycheck recently or pay salary rate that I'm making as an NP now from being a nurse. And people react, that's not what I make. Of course, that's not what you make because that's what I'm sharing what I make, right? But
Yeah.
obviously there will be differences per state and per city. So to answer your question, that's is that a good number is really hard to say. All right, because you
And
have to
yep.
run the scenario. I do not know if you have five family members, five kids. I do
Mm-hmm.
not know if you're by yourself, so you can run the numbers yourself. Go to Indeed, get those rates, or if you already know the rates, go to Paycheck City, right? And click the hourly rate. All right. Where is that? And then from there, Paycheck City, you get the hourly calculator, you change your state, and then from there, you can put all the numbers in. So
Mm-hmm.
that is how I do it. Paycheckcity.com is how you do it.
And that is why you cannot compare your apple and your banana, right?
Yes.
So if
And it's hard
ever
to
you go,
answer those kinds of questions,
yeah,
actually.
like it's hard to compare. And like what you said, it depends where you're working, what state, and your situation, and what other responsibilities you have. As we all
Right.
know, most of us immigrants, we send money back home. So if you and me, like what partner is in Houston, I'm in New York, yes, New York is cost of living is higher. So
Mm-hmm.
I cannot compare my cost of living, my lifestyle, because
Right,
I
right.
love comfort too. And what partner live in Houston is not paying state tax, right? I pay state tax. So I cannot say that, oh no, I'm earning more than you. Oh no, your rate is deductions, unlike me. So looking for your numbers, compare for your compare for your responsibility and your lifestyle. We cannot say yes, take that contract. Yes, sign that contract. That will help you. And later on, you realize you're not even making any money. It's not even break even. Instead, you are losing more money. So you really have to pay attention, allocate an hour or hours to learn to understand these numbers. Even if you hate numbers, we have to advocate for ourselves. So, frustration will not happen. I saw Jordan said, oh, I came from Middle East. My husband worked in Kuwait for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
When we arrived here 9 years ago, he was complaining about the taxes. Because for
Right, right.
7 years, he never paid any taxes in
Taxes.
Kuwait.
Right,
Yes.
right, right.
Meanwhile, in New York, even if you buy a bubble gum, you have to pay for the tax.
Taxes. Yeah, everything has taxes.
Oh my god! So you really have to consider those factors. Not just,
Yep,
oh, I'm okay, I'm earning this money every hour. There's more gross pay, deduction, lifestyle, and your responsibility.
yep. Unfortunately, there's no way around taxes. We all have to pay
Mm-hmm.
it. And some like, I worked in, I think in Illinois and Hawaii. Both of them have five
Mm.
percent tax, flat rate tax.
Wow.
So 5% from gross and not net.
Mm-hmm.
So if your
Oh,
gross is like,
wow.
yeah, if your gross is 3,000 a week, they get automatically 150, right? 3,000 a week is 150 a week for your travel nursing money, right? They take from gross,
Mm-hmm.
not net. So check that out. That's why you need to use the calculators. That's the only way you're gonna know how much you're gonna earn. Because like I said, budgeting starts from the net.
Yep.
Yes, I know you might be earning, say for example, your employer offers you a salary and you're an immigrant nurse and you're not in the US and the contract says you're gonna earn 50,000 a year and you're like, woohoo, I'm earning 50,000 a year,
Dollar.
a year, $50,000 a year. That's like, Anna, that's like 2.5 million. I'm a millionaire, right?
Yes,
But
we are.
uh, well, let me tell you the real story because that 50,000 might end up 20 or 30,000 depending on how you um
True.
depending on your individual tax situation. So run your numbers, all right? And this is not only for nurses coming to the US. This is also helpful, Anna, for nurses that are
Oh,
already
yeah.
here in the US and wants to
Mm-hmm.
move, change, just to give them an idea or like before they make that big decision to move and be
Mm-hmm.
disappointed, just to make them give them big idea. But also, if you know the rates and you know how to compute, you also know how to negotiate, right? Like
True.
for example, if
Yeah.
somebody offers me to move to California as an NP and say, you know what, we're gonna offer you 160,000, right? Well, I'm gonna say, well, I earn 140,000 here in Texas and more if I pick up overtime, right? So I think we need to start at 200,
True.
right? Because I'm not gonna move to another state and rent. Right here, I have a house, and then
Yeah.
only to have less money um, on my net pay because I run my numbers. So always negotiate because it's always not about the gross pay. They can always say, "Oh, here's your gross pay. Here's your gross pay. Here's your gross pay." Right?
Mm-hmm.
But yep. Anyway, Anna, you were gonna show something.
Yes, I think, moderator.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. So again, I'm not great in numbers, but this is the best way to understand it in shortcut. Your gross income minus your total deduction. The partners all mentioned already those deductions. Your 401, your retirement or 403, your insurance, your tax might be state or federal, and other insurances that you avail from your hospital or from your company that you're working with. Gross income minus those deductions equals your net pay. Net pay is for take home pay. That's the amount of money wherein you're gonna budget the bills, the expenses, the money that you're gonna spend in the
Right.
Philippines. Remember, in USA, you're getting paid per hour. Per hour, every hour counts. That's why they say time is money. Now, you can work 40 hours in a week, meaning it might be 8 hours in a day or 10 hours in a day. Or you can
Mm-hmm.
also work 36 hours in a week, 12 hours, 3 times a day only. So we're getting paid as a regular staff, you're getting paid every 2 weeks or bi-weekly, or what we
Mm-hmm.
call back home quincenas katapusan. So if you're a traveler, you're gonna get paid weekly every week, every Friday. That's why I always say, I used to say when I was a traveler, happy Friday, because I know I'm getting
Right.
paid that. But not
Correct.
anymore. So anyway, so to calculate your gross income, this is only an example. Your hourly rate and your hours that you work. That's your gross income. Now, here comes the deduction. As you can see from number 2, the federal income tax, the social security. These are non-negotiable. You really have to pay for this. That is why you cannot start working without the social security ID. Okay, there are so many things that come into play before you can
Mm-hmm.
start to work, aside from learning this stuff. Okay, and your healthcare benefits. Please, I know someone, Sir Paul, he did not avail the insurance from his company.
Oh
He was like,
no.
"Mom, I don't want to get the insurance. Why? Because my take home pay will be smaller." You know what happened for him? He had a heart attack.
Oh
So please,
no.
please do not play with the insurance. I rather have a small net A and have insurance. Like now, what are you gonna do with that big amount of money? It will run out sooner because you're paying out of pocket. Okay, so now again, gross income minus deduct all of this, your 401, your tax, your health insurance, and other insurance that you avail. Now, you're gonna go home with your net pay. That's the reality. Okay, so I hope I was able to explain it in a very simple way. And to summarize this, all you have to do is to run your numbers. Okay, expectation versus reality. Do not just be happy. Oh, my agency says I'm getting this amount of money, and stop the conversion. For all, there's so many. Oh, Mom Anna, I'm gonna be millionaire. No, you're not. You're in the USA. You earn dollar. You're gonna spend dollars. So I hope if you have any question, please comment down below your question. Hello, for Rainier, one of the admin. Hi from San
Hello, Rainier.
Diego.
I might go to San
How about
Diego next year because NP conference is
mm,
going to be there.
for all? Can you add anything about this? How to calculate net A? I think it's a simple way how to understand this.
Yeah.
No
For me, it's
negative.
use the calculators. Don't spend
Yeah.
time with researching. A lot of people, there are nurses that like to be spoon fed, but let me tell you this: the more that you're
Mm-hmm.
letting people do it for you, compute your pay, is this
Yeah.
good,
File your
right?
tax.
Is this a good insurance for me? The more that they're gonna manipulate you, and you're at risk for being scammed. So be on top of your finances. I've shared this in social media. You're the only one
Mm-hmm.
who can determine your financial state. We do not see your paycheck. We do not see your individual situation. We do not see if you have debts that you need to pay,
Mm-hmm.
right? Do not let anyone to just dictate you what you need to do. Run those scenarios, run those calculators for your paycheck. And this is also going to help you negotiate, right? So you can always tell the employer based on my research, right? Especially if you're already here in the US. If
Mm-hmm.
you're coming to the US via an agency or an employer, it's a little hard to negotiate because there
Mm-hmm.
are many other nurses lined up behind you. So there's more supply, right? Because there's a lot
Yeah.
of applicants. There could be 5 spots open, but there are 50 nurses that are waiting for to be offered. So it's hard to negotiate that way because the upper hand is with the employer. Here in the States,
Correct.
it's different, right? Because there are hospitals or areas or cities that are needing a lot of nurses. So you can actually negotiate. In fact, my rate right now, Anna, as an employed staff, as a nurse
Mm-hmm.
practitioner, to be honest with you, the real offer was $110,000 plus bonus.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, let's get rid of the bonus. I want the bonus instead to uh, bump up my base pay, because my idea is if you bump up the base pay, then you're also bumping up my overtime because it's time and a half, right? So I mean, my overtime right now is going to be 110 an hour, and every now and then, if 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 there's a nurse practitioner that's out on PTO, I can pick up 6 hour shift or 8 hour shift, something like that. But I was able to negotiate because I run my numbers. All right.
Mm-hmm.
I said I don't want to work as an NP if I'm gonna make the same as I was a nurse, right? So there's student loans involved. There's stuff like that. So I want to make sure that I would earn more as an NP, right? And
Exactly.
I'm
Yes.
only in my first year as an NP now because I already have a good rate to begin with. I'm on my second year, and there are other recruiters that are reaching out to me, but I already have a baseline. I said I cannot go lower than this because this is what I'm making. I'll just stay in my company and I'm happy where I'm at. If you want to offer me, you want to offer me higher, right?
Correct.
And then on my third year, if I check the market again, I have more leverage again. So the goal is for you to be able to negotiate that rate. But how do I negotiate that? It's because I run my numbers, I do my research, I check the market. I cannot say, you
Correct.
know what, I want you to pay me $180,000 per year, right? But that's not the market in
Mm-hmm.
Houston, right? So you're gonna be an outlier. They're gonna move on from you and say, you know what, that's not even the market rates here. So the point is check, research, do your computations. And before we used to use our own calculators, thankfully you don't have to do that anymore. It's
Yeah.
2024. Let the online calculator run the numbers for
Do
you.
it for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like what you said, Purple, do not just rely on your friend's friends or your mom's best friend about
Mm-hmm.
your future, especially with, you know what, class value will help you long term. So please, please, okay, do your own thing. I mean, not a lot of people wish you got to have a better life, or some people will. Not all of them, might be some, So please do your own research. It's okay to listen to them, get more information, but not really rely on them. I received a lot of messages too about the newly arrived nurses from our state that they were being taken advantage of because they trust their own kababayan. Well, I'm sorry to say that you have to be really advocating for yourself and not just be gullible about it. Not every people would like you to have the best life here. So please, please, if you want to know more, learn more, we are right here. You can listen to our podcast. You can replay it. You can take notes. You can send us a message. It may take a while to reply, but we reply.
Right,
And
right.
your information are safe with us. We help a lot of nurses behind DNP Unlocked. Every week after the topic, we receive email, we receive messages, and before updates. So remember, if you look for a job, there are so many information out there. And if you want to know more about running your numbers, like Dr. Nurse Paul said, look for a calculator and know your worth. I always remember that purple. So let me share my experience. I've been traveling for 5 years as an OR nurse in New York. And finally, January 1, I decided I don't want to travel anymore. I utilized the hospital website, Indeed, networking, and other platforms. And then I applied in 5 jobs. And Indeed
Mm-hmm.
helped me a lot in terms of negotiation circle.
Right. Uh-huh.
Like, I feel like I'm also still traveling minus the weekly pay. Don't just sign up. Don't just say yes. Negotiate, negotiate. know your market value. So even if we're already working, like for all, we still check, okay, what's the ongoing pay rate now for our nurse, for an ME in this location. Do not be stagnant. Okay, market yourself as you get more experiences. And if you want to negotiate more, go back to school. Be a
Right.
certified or like your master's.
Mhm. Broaden your scope. So that's
Yeah.
it. Be competitive because even here in the states, competitive. And if you see those rates that are saying 80 an hour, 90 an hour, 100 an hour, you always need to remember you're not the only one applying for those jobs. The
Yeah.
highest
Mm-hmm.
paying jobs would always get saturated first. So
Mm-hmm.
level your game up, all right, and know your negotiation power, know negotiation skills, but also you let them know what you can bring to the table. When I negotiated my rate, Anna, I didn't just say I want
Mm-hmm.
this. Well, how can I negotiate that? They haven't worked with me, but I
Yep.
let them know my core values when I'm working, the way I work, what I can bring to the
Mm-hmm.
table, just to make them know that it's also worth it to invest with me at this amount of money because I can guarantee you that I can bring you more money
Mm-hmm.
than what you're trying to like raise me with. So something like that, power of negotiation. But it all starts with your ability to compute your paycheck. All right. So it is very subjective to answer questions. Is this a good rate? You can do your own research using your own individual situation because I might be computing your number for single but you're actually married, so
Yeah.
that's totally different thing,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Exactly. So what are the tips to monitor paycheck? I know that for all you're into electronics. Me, I'm still an old school. I print them out.
Right. I have
I
iCloud Drive for all of my files.
mm-hmm. Remember when you use four as a traveler, how many paychecks you have in a month, right? Four paychecks a month.
Four, at least four, yeah, sometimes five, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. Oh,
But everything is in the app now. I'm an app
true.
person, I'm sorry.
True. Yeah, everything's in app right now. You have to be on top of it, okay? Every paycheck, first thing to do, open your app, look into it, how many hours did I work, and your schedule. I compare my schedule because sometimes I go overtime. Like, I'm only supposed to work 7 to 3, and sometimes they ask me, can you stay until 7 to 7? And I make sure that 7 to 7 was paid, like 12 hours, not according to my schedule. Compare your paycheck to your schedule of work. So you know that you're not gonna miss any amount of money. That's my number one thing that I always do. I highlight it, I encircle it, and yes, last year I lost amount of money of 2,000 in a paycheck. They
Oh
did not
wow.
pay my holidays, my on call because I work in the OR. When
Uh-oh.
you're on call, you have a like $10, for example, waiting at home, but when you got called in, you're getting paid time and a half. So make sure
All
you're
right.
getting that money. You really have to be on top of monitoring your number of hours that you work every week.
Correct. And
That's
with
my
me,
neighbor.
yeah, my tip is to always check, be in the habit of checking, computing, and of course it's hard to check and say did I get it right or not without computing. All right. So at the beginning, especially if you're new here in the states, the wordings and descriptions are crazy, but you're gonna get a hang of it. All right. Everything can be googled nowadays, but that's my tip. And Anna, for next week, we're gonna talk about one of our favorite topics. I think we've touched this before, but now we're highlighting it in a new
I'm
um,
gonna
full show, full 1 hour show. We're gonna talk
elaborate
about
more.
reporting labor issues. There's different violations, right? It could be safety risk. Is it OSHA?
Mm,
Is it the Medicare fraud?
yep.
Billing issue,
Ethical.
the Medicare, is that labor issue, labor, are you being human trafficked? So we're gonna talk about how to report those labor issues. um
Benefits.
yep. and very important, right? Because, I mean, Anna, let's admit it, whether we like it or not, nurses are still getting abused at work right now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whether you're an immigrant or you're from here, there's a lot of
True.
workplace abuse, bullying, abuse from employers or something like that, or even abuse from your own coworkers, or maybe
True.
um, administrators are forcing you to do something illegal that you shouldn't be doing, something like that. But
True.
we'll teach
Mm-hmm.
you guys how to be assertive, especially if it's about your license.
True.
That's gonna be
Of
our
course.
episode number 40. Wow, 40.
Wow, 40 already? Oh my
Yes,
god, 40
ma'am.
already. So please don't forget and play Feel Better. We really need you next week.
Right,
Our
right,
neighbor
right,
at the same.
right.
Feel Better. Don't forget neighbor report on neighbor issues. A lot of people are also sending us messages asking
Uh-huh.
for a lawyer. Who knows? We might have a special, right? Who knows? We don't know.
Yep, yep.
Thank you for joining,
Thank you
everyone.
for joining
For
us,
making
everyone.
time.
Anna, thank you so much. And go sleep.
I'm gonna go to sleep. Thank you, DrNursePaul, again.
Thank you,
Create the
Anna.
life you want by empowering yourself with knowledge. Always watch or listen to the DNP Unlocked with DrNursePaul. Follow his Facebook account. And he helped us a lot in every way, even if you're already here in the US or planning to come here. And also follow
Mhm.
my friend Facebook, the Nurse Traveling Hackers. There are hackers in their own way. You're gonna learn a lot from them,
Right.
and once in a while, I jump into the comment section. Thank you so much for giving us your time. God bless you all. For all, feel better.
Happy Sunday. Feel better, Kay. Bye
Bye.
now. See you next week.